Hello fellow weavers, how are you? I hope you had a great Christmas. We did. It was a lovely Christmas, very relaxing, but probably a little bit different to your part of the world because it was seriously hot on Christmas Day here. In fact, in Australian terms, you could say it was a scorcher, mate. That's an Australian doing an Australian accent. So it's a little bit funny, this project that I'm working on, because I feel like I should be doing melting ice creams or melting suns or something like that at the moment, but I know, because YouTube demographics tells me, that many of you, if not most of you, are from the US or from various parts of Europe. And so I was thinking about you guys, probably some of you not snowed in yet, but plenty of snow about, and you'd have your fires going or your heating going or whatever, and you'd be cozying up, and you would probably be enjoying some projects like this. So that's why I'm doing this one, and I'm calling this one Winter Trees for obvious reasons. Snow-covered trees, just for fun. So let's talk about what I've done so far. I have used a 4-ply cotton for the warp, and I'm using my 12.5 dent reed, but you can just use what you've got. You can use, if you've got a 7.5 or 8 dent reed, then you can just use a thicker yarn. I just wanted for this piece sort of a finer background, I suppose, with a thicker yarn for the actual trees so that they stand out and stand above the rest. And for the first part, I have used the same warp, the same weft that I used for the warp, which is just one of my hand-dyed cottons. And for this part of the demonstration, I'm going to bring in some of my hand-dyed wool because it's slightly darker. I am playing a bit of yarn chicken here. I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough, but we'll see. It'll be an adventure. So the first thing that I did to start out was make a little border, and this part's optional, but I just think it always, you know, sets off one of these pieces if you can weave a little border to start with. And I've also done some little white dots to kind of represent snow or snowflakes or whatever. So just going to tuck my tail in there. And this is going to be a decorative piece, so I'm not worried about mixing my cotton and wool, but if I was going to be wearing this or using it on a piece that was going to be washed fairly often, I wouldn't really be mixing cotton and wool. It's not a good idea because they shrink at different rates and so on. So let's see how many picks. Say I do 3 of those, and then I'm going to put in my little row of dots. Now I have already inserted my pickup stick at the back, but basically you go into the down position with your heddle, and at the back pick up every other thread. So what did I do first? For the first one I put it on top of the stick. For the second I put it underneath. So if you need that explained a little bit more thoroughly, it's going to be basically up, down, across. But I'm going to be doing that at the back where I've got this stick. Okay, so if you find that confusing, have a look at some of my other videos that use this kind of technique. I call it the Branu technique, but that's, you know, it can be called overshot and various other things. But the Russian Branu technique is how I first came across it and started weaving all these little pictures and things. So that's what I call it. So once you've got your pickup stick inserted at the back, and mind you, this part is just for the border. So if you're doing the border, put the heddle into up and slide the pickup stick forward, flat behind it. And then we can bring this white in, the same white that I'm going to be using for the trees. And just one pick of that. Then I'm going to go into the down shed. I'm going to tuck that tail in. I don't know if you can hear the chooks. They're having some serious issues today. I don't know what's going on out there. Problems in the pecking order or something. Like you're standing in my space or something like that. Okay, so then a couple more picks of your background, which for me is dark blue, various shades of dark blue. Goodness, listen to them. You might be thinking right now that I live on a farmyard, but I don't, unfortunately. Alright, so we can take that pickup stick out of the back, and we're not going to be using it at the back again until we're finishing off our border at the end. So now we can start on the trees, and we have our heddle in neutral. So the rule is if you are picking up in front of the heddle's in neutral. If you're picking up behind the heddle's in down. Alright, let's start with 6 up and 1 down. I started with 6 up and then 1 down, and then 8 up, 1 down. You repeat the 8 up, 1 down across, and then we are going to turn this on edge and take through our white. Now you will find these pattern instructions in the drop down menu. If you click on show more, you'll be able to see it. So take the stick out, beat that in, and then into the up shed, because my yarn's on this side ready for the up shed. And we always chase a row of pickup of this type with a row of background fabric to stabilize the whole thing. Now the next row is the same as the first, and it's a bit easier this time because you can see already where your last pickup was by the white dots that are there, so you can just go along. You don't even have to count. This is your get out of jail free row, so it doesn't take as long. There we go, on edge again, and through with the white. Remove the stick and beat. And now we're in the down shed with the dark blue background. And make sure that your little edges catch there so you don't have too much drawing. And I'll beat quite firmly with this. Okay, next row. Next row is another row of the same. So once again, you've got an easy row. Just go through where all of your white threads are and pick up that one. And remember to chase it with the background thread. So the next row, exactly the same. We're up to row 6, and it's going to be 4 up, 5 down all the way across. I've probably told you before, but it's easiest when you're counting to look down here at the fell of the cloth. It's easier to count them down there than up here somewhere. Into the down shed for the background. And then repeat that for the next row. So we're starting to look a bit more like little trees now, and that brings us to row 8, which is 5 up, 3 down, and then 6 up, 3 down across the row. I'm going to give you the choice for this part. You can either repeat the row that you just did, which was row 8, and make that row 9, so you get another row of these. That makes your tree a little bit taller. Or you can do the last row. So for these ones down here, I did repeat row 8 as row 9, but for this one I'm not going to repeat it. I'm just going to finish off the row. I want these trees to be slightly shorter. So for the last row we are doing 6 up, 1 down, and then 8 up, 1 down all the way across. Okay, so now that we've finished our actual trees, we can finish off with a border like we did on this end, and that's just simple plain weave in our background fabric for a few picks. How many did I do there? 1, 2, 3. Yep, so I've done 3 there as well. And then remember, we inserted our pickup stick at the back with our heddle in the down position, and it was 1 up, 1 down all the way across at the back. Then we went into up position and we slid the pickup stick flat behind that, and we did 1 row with our white yarn to make some little white dots as accents. Then we'll go back into the down shed and do a few more picks of the background fabric. And look at that, I had plenty of the dark blue left anyway. I've even got extra left over. I didn't have to worry. A few more of those. And there you are, we're done. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my Weaving Lessons channel, where you can learn even more about weaving, where we have wonderful projects and weave-alongs and the occasional giveaway, and it's very affordable to join. So I hope to see you all there. Bye!